Hello my yarny friends, I'm super excited about today's video. This is our Friday fun day, and so I thought it would be super fun to do what I'm calling a mashup hat. And what that is I took the brim from my bucket hat pattern, the sides from my sun hat, and then we opened it up for a messy bun hat. Isn't that fun? I just love it. It's beautiful, and I made it using some of the Sweet Roll Fruits yarn. This one is called Blueberry. So here's a better look at our mashup hat that I'm calling our Messy Bun Bucket Summer Hat. It's so cute. So like I said, we have the brim of a bucket hat. We've got the sides of an open sun hat and the opening for our messy bun. I love this hat. Again, I know I always give things away, but I think I'm going to keep this one. It's a super fun hat to wear anywhere. Now, again, I used the blueberry. Here's my wrapper from that. Sweet Roll Premier Sweet Roll Fruits. You can find the link to the Premier website down in the notes under the video if you want to go and order some. They have 8 different flavors: bananas and kiwi, strawberry, and lots of other ones. I just love them all. Now, you can find the complete pattern for this on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video as well. Now, this hat will fit a 22 to 24 inch head because it's very stretchy. And if you find that it's a little too stretchy for you, remember, you can always go down a hook size or 2. And that works if you want it a little bit more roomy. You can go up a hook size or 2 and adjust it to how you like to wear it. Now, bucket hats normally fit a little bit loose, where a sun hat doesn't fit quite so loose. But this is a great fitting hat. It's comfortable to wear, and I think the brim is just the perfect size. So, to make our messy bun bucket hat, or our mashup hat, you're only going to need about 3.5 ounces of a medium weight number 4 yarn. I'm using acrylic. You could also use cotton if you prefer. And I chose this one. This is the blueberry from the Sweet Roll Fruits line of Premier yarn. And of course, they have 7 other colors besides this one. Lots of beautiful colors. And on each of the papers, it shows you how it looks if you knit it up. Now, we're going to be crocheting, of course, so it's going to look a little bit different, but it still gives you an idea of how those colors are going to work. And I just love this yarn. These are one of my favorites from Premier, are these Sweet Roll yarns. Now, I did a bag and some other things using this as well, and you can find those other patterns in my playlist here on YouTube if you want to find those. All right, so you just need 1 cake, which is 174 yards or 3.5 ounces to make this hat. And you'll have some left over. It really depends on how tightly that you stitch. We're going to be using our eye hook today, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And then, of course, you need a pair of scissors. And don't forget, you're also going to need a needle for weaving in those ends. We're going to be starting at the top of the hat, that circle that we're going to be leaving open so that our messy bun or ponytail can be put through it. And we're going to be starting with 40 foundation double crochets. And we're choosing to use the foundation double crochets because that's going to give us a little bit of stretch around the top of that hat. All right, so we're going to start with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're going to yarn over. We're going to go in that 4th chain from the hook and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and only go through that first loop. That's the chain that we make. Now we're going to finish our double crochet. So yarn over, go through the next 2 loops, yarn over, and go through the next 2 loops. Now this chain 3 at the beginning that we skipped, will count as your first foundation double crochet. All right, so yarn over, go in that chain that you made and pull up, go through just the first loop. Yarn over, go through the next two, yarn over, and go through the next two loops. Now, if you have trouble finding that loop that you made, that's your chain, so we can do our next double crochet in it, our foundation double crochet, you can always mark that with a stitch marker. All right, so let's keep going. And so basically what we're doing with our foundation double crochet is we're making the chain and the stitch at the same time. And I really love using this technique when I want a little bit of stretch on the edge. Now we're going to stitch a total of 40 foundation double crochets, and be sure and count this chain 3 as your first one. I have stitched 40 foundation double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now you'll notice when you do a foundation double crochet and you join, you're going to have a gap. So you're going to take that tail of yarn, put it on your needle, and we're going to close that up. There we go. All right, so we're going to go to here and just stitch a couple of stitches and close that up. We have to weave this end in anyway, so we might as well do that while we're closing up that gap. We'll just go through some stitches, some fibers, make sure that's secure, and then clip off that tail. Now we don't have to come back and weave that in, and we've closed up that gap. All right, let's do round 2. Now our chain 3 is going to count as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 3. And then we'll place 2 double crochets in the next. And so our repeat for round 2 is 1 double crochet in the next 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets in the next double crochet. 1 and 2. And we'll repeat this all the way around. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochets in the next, and repeat all the way around, and then we'll join back to our chain 3. I have repeated 1 double crochet in the next 4, 2 double crochets in the next, and repeat all the way around. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. All right. Now you can see this is the top of our hat, and this is the opening where our messy bun or ponytail is going to come through. All right, now it's time to do round 3, and we're going to do round 3 just a little bit different. And what we're going to do is we're going to place 1 double crochet and the next 2 double crochets. We're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next double crochet, and then in the next double crochet we're going to stitch a double crochet V-stitch. which is double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. Now we're going to chain 1. We're going to skip the next stitch and stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, skip the next, and stitch our V-stitch in the next. Double crochet, chain 1, and double crochet. And then chain 1, skip the next, and 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. And this is our repeat for round 3. Chain 1, skip 1, V-stitch in the next, chain 1, skip 1, and 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we'll continue to repeat this all the way around and join back to our first chain 3. So I have repeated this all the way around. Here's our V-stitch, chain 1, skip 1, 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, and repeat. We end on a V-stitch, chain 1, skip 1. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. All right, now for row 4, we're going to be doing it similar, only we're going to chain 2 in between and after, or before and after our V-stitches. So our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. We're going to double crochet in the next 2. There we go. And now we're going to chain 2 instead of chain 1, and then V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the next V-stitch. And then chain 2. And then we'll go and stitch 1 double crochet in those next 3 double crochets. And chain 2. All right, see how that works? Instead of chaining 1 before and after the V-stitch, we're chaining 2 before and after the V-stitch. All right, so we chain 2. We're going to V-stitch in the chain 1 space of the V-stitch, and that doesn't change. It's still a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and chain 2. Then we'll go to those 3 double crochets and stitch 1 in each. Whoops, there we go. Chain 2. And so that is our repeat for round 4. 3 double crochets, chain 2, V-stitch, chain 2, and repeat. I have repeated 3 double crochets, chain 2, V-stitch, chain 2, all the way around. Here's my last V-stitch, chain 2, and I'm going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. So row 5 is going to be just like row 4. We're going to do 1 double crochet in the next 3, and again the chain 3 counts as our first one here. Chain 2, V-stitch in the V-stitch, and again that's a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, and then chain 2, and repeat all the way around. I have completed row 5, 3 double crochets, chain 2, V-stitch, chain 2, and repeat. I joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. And so now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat row 5 for 5 more rows. All right, we're going to do it exactly the same. 3 double crochets, chain 2, V-stitch, chain 2 for 5 more rows. I have now stitched those additional 5 rows, so we have 10 rows on our hat. All right, now what we're going to do, we've joined to our chain 3 and chained 3, and now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch a solid row of double crochets. All right, so we're going to stitch a double crochet in those 2 double crochets. We're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. We'll stitch a double crochet in the double crochet, a double crochet in the chain 1 space, and a double crochet in the double crochet. And see how that's giving us a solid row? 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, and 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. All right, and then we'll just continue this around. 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, double crochet in the double crochet in the chain 1 space, and double crochet in the double crochet. 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, 1 double crochet in the 3 double crochets. There we go. And then 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space. And again, this is giving us a solid row of double crochet around the bottom of our hat. I have completed row 11. 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets, 2 in the chain 2 spaces, 1 in the double crochet, chain 1 space, double crochet of our V-stitch, and 2 double crochets in the chain 2 space, and repeat all the way around. And that's going to get you 80 double crochets. All right, so what we're going to do, we join to our chain 3, and now for row 12, we're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those double crochet stitches, because now we're working on the brim of our bucket hat. 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets, working all the way around our hat. I completed that second row of solid double crochet, and you can see that it looks similar to the brim of a bucket hat. And so what we're going to do, we've joined to our chain 3 and chained 3, and now we're going to just repeat that and stitch another row of just 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets, working all the way around. We want it to be big enough to keep the sun out of our eyes, but not too big that it looks like a big sun hat. Because remember, this is a mashup between a sun hat, a bucket hat, and a messy bun hat. And it's super fun to make, isn't it? I know, I'm having a great time. All right, so I'm just going to stitch again 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around. I have completed that third row of solid double crochet, and isn't it just so pretty the way the yarn has worked out? All right, so we just have 1 more row to go. And after that last row of our double crochet rows, there should be 3 of them, we're going to chain 1 instead of chain 3. And that's because we're just going to do a row of single crochet, and this is going to give a nice edge to our hat and help it keep its shape. All right, so we're just going to stitch a single crochet in each of the double crochets all the way around. Then our hat will be ready for us to wear. I can't wait to try this one on. I have single crocheted all the way around the bottom of my hat. I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and cut my yarn. All right, so now I'm going to go to that next stitch and pull that loop to the inside so we get a nice finish and tie that off. And now, because we have already weaved in the one at the top, all I have left to do is to weave this end in. So I've threaded my needle and I'm just going to weave this in securely. And something to remember when you're working with yarn that has lots of colors in it like this, you want to be careful not to pull this. Like this is a lighter blue, and if I go through here and it shows through, there'll be a weird pop of blue in there. And so we want to try to weave it in the color that it matches. I've done that before and I thought, oh, it's not going to matter, and it does. And I don't like the way that that looks. So just be real careful to try to weave that in within the color that you're working with, and stay in the backs of the loops and don't go through to the front, because you don't want a weird bump of the wrong color showing through. All right. So now my hat is complete and I'm super excited to wear it. Isn't that cute? I just love the brim of the bucket hat, the lacy part of the sun hat, and the opening of the messy bun hat. That's our mashup summer hat.